screaming. They won it by 4 in the end.
American Anthem has taken off. American Anthem easily in the Woody Stevens.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by WinStar Farm. Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, checking out Sunday's Spa Baby race. We'll kick off the early pick 5 with the opener at 1 1/16 on the Mellon turf course. Let's take a look at this field. It's a field of maiden special weight 2-year-old fillies, a full field, some nice pedigrees, Nicole.
Yeah, and these races always present such a great opportunity for handicappers. Just by virtue of the races, almost all of these horses are trying something new. You're stretching out, you're trying turf. These 2-year-olds, a lot of them haven't even started yet. So really, if you can get insightful about pedigree and get creative, especially looking sort of for those hidden turf sires that we talk about sometimes, I think there's a lot of opportunity in races like this kicking right off here.
Well, let's start down towards the inside with the number 1. That's Bird Key, a $45,000 yearling by Union Rags. And when folks think of Union Rags, of course, they think Belmont Stakes winner, but he was bred to be a turf horse as well.
He really was, and he's one of those right off the bat that we talk about when we're talking about those hidden turf sires, those ones who never ran on turf during their own careers, but when you look back a little bit, you say, gee, maybe their offspring could. Union Rags is from the family of horses like Declaration of War, who was a multiple Group 1 winner in Europe before coming over here to run so well in the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's a versatile family, and Union Rags himself ran well on a wet track, and that also speaks a little bit of turf ability to me. Sometimes that translates in a horse's ability, and he went long. That's certainly going to be a benefit in these turf races. And this one, Bird Key, has got some turf breeding on the bottom as well, certainly.
Yeah, the dam won at 2 in her turf debut. She draws a good inside post position. Distance shouldn't be a problem. A little bit of turf in this pedigree. Formulator fact, though, for trainer Gary Contessa with the number 1 Bird Key over the past 4 years with 2-year-old first-time starters on turf, 1 for 45, 57-cent return on investment. But Bird Key should offer value, so I'm not going to let that formulator fact talk me off the horse if you really like Bird Key, the number 1 with a little bit of turf pedigree. The number 2 is a New York bred with prior racing experience. That's Queen Courage, who's getting Lasix for the first time. She didn't do much at 57-1 in her career debut, however, and she catches a pretty strong group.
Yeah, I mean, this one, Queen Courage, if you're going to say something good about her, I do think that she deserves a mulligan for that first start. Debuted sprinting on the dirt simply because those are the opportunities available early for 2-year-olds. Had a troubled trip besides, and this one's really bred for the turf. She's by the Grade 1 winning turf runner Courageous Cat, who stands in New York, half to a turf stakes winner. So eligible for improvement here, whether or not she's good enough to win. As you said, this is a tough group.
The dam was placed routing, so perhaps the additional distance will work to Queen Courage's advantage. A $1,000 buyback as a yearling, perhaps up against it a little bit, maybe one to tab when she drops back in against New York breds. The number 3 is You People, trained by the great Bill Mott. Now, we know that Mott's second-time starters usually perform better than firsters, but I really love this horse's pedigree for turf.
Yeah, I love the stallion here, Lonro, who's an Australian-based stallion who shuttled up here to stand in Kentucky a couple of years and just never really caught on commercially just because it's such a different market here. But Lonro has done so well down in Australia where it is turf-based running, where 2-year-old running is valued. He's a terrific stallion who throws very imposing, wonderful physicals on his horses. So, I mean, I do give this one, a chance here.
Dam, a multiple Grade 3 stakes winner on the turf. She has already foaled 1 turf winner, so there's a lot of pedigree with the 3. You People and Jose Ortiz takes the mount. The number 4 is Orbolution, and this one's by Kentucky Derby winner Orb. There is a ton of turf on the bottom of this pedigree. This filly has racing experience, and it can only help her as she stretches out for the first time.
Yeah, definitely. I think being by Orb, this one's going to like going longer. Orb, another one who never ran on turf, but actually had his first winner on the turf. This is his first crop of 2-year-olds this year. They've been well regarded by a lot of people, by a lot of bloodstock experts. This one was a $370,000 yearling, has the female family to back that up as well. The dam was grade 3 placed on the turf. She's produced turf stakes horse Firehouse Red, and another one, Rachel's Ready, who's a stakes performer on synthetic and on dirt. It's the family of turf runners like grade 1 winner Jack Milton. Just a terrific, terrific pedigree.
Big turf pedigree, and of course you've got Pletcher and Johnny V. Here's a Todd Pletcher formulator fact with the number 4 Orbolution. Over the past 4 years, with 2-year-olds moving from dirt to turf in route races off a mini layoff, 31 to 60 days, 36% and a 322 ROI. This horse looks like a contender on pedigree and connections and is going to take some money. I am really interested in the number 5, Miss Mo Mentum, a daughter of Uncle Mo, trained by Mark Cassian. Perhaps a rare Uncle Mo bargain at the sales. Only sold for $50,000 as a yearling, but a lot of turf in the female family.
Yeah, definitely. And Uncle Mo, of course, has just gotten rave reviews throughout his brief stud career so far. Sire of horses like Derby winner Nyquist in his first crop, but they do run on turf as well. He's the sire of turf runners like Mocott. And really, the Uncle Mo's are such athletes that I think they would run on broken glass if you ask them to. They're just beautiful movers who seem to take to all surfaces. And of course, the Cassie barn knows how to handle a turf filly.
Dam 1 on turf. She's already foaled 1 turf winner. This filly has some racing experience. She started on dirt at Gulfstream Park. She took some money. She had a little bit of trouble. I like Cassie's second time out. I prefer those horses to his first time starters. I think Miss Mo Mentum's going to run very well with Joel Rosario aboard. The 6 is Old-Fashioned Style. This is a $27,000 yearling purchase by Old-Fashioned. I don't really think turf when I think of Old-Fashioned, but there's a little bit of class on the bottom of this pedigree.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't really think of turf so much either. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Sometimes you see these horses where their pedigrees, their build doesn't really speak to turf, and you wonder, gee, is the barn running on turf just because, again, these are the opportunities to run a 2-year-old long at this time of year. The second dam is a multiple stakes winner.
She took on Pacific Gale in her career debut on dirt. That one will compete on Friday at Saratoga in the opening day Schuylerville Stakes. We'll see how good Pacific Gale is. Old-Fashioned Style's dam-placed sprinting. She's a half to a stakes-placed dirt sprinter named Alpha Mike Foxtrot. But the second dam earned over $500,000. She was a multiple stakes winner. The 7 is Sweet By and By, a first-time starter by Sky Mesa. Sky Mesa does very well with 2-year-old first-time starters, connecting at a 17% rate and solid with first-time turf runners, 13%.
Yeah, Sky Mesa is a really solid all-purpose sort of sire. They do really well up in Canada where, you know, the main racing surfaces tend to be turf and synthetic in the bigger races. He does well down here. Just, you know, they seem to run on a little bit of everything.
She is a half-sister to 2 turf winners. The dam's a half to a couple of stakes winners, 1 on the turf. And there are a lot of big turf names in this female family. So perhaps Sweet By and By is ready to take to this surface first out, going a mile and a 16th. The number 8 is Sure Is by Colonel John, who was good on dirt, obviously, winning the Travers at the spot. Also could compete very well on turf. And there's some turf here. The dam was a stakes winner on the grass.
Yeah, definitely. And this one's a half to a grade 3 placed runner. And as you mentioned, Colonel John, really versatile runner, competed with distinction in stakes on turf, dirt, and synthetic. And his best runner to date is the Star Turf filly La Coronel, multiple graded winner. So I'm definitely interested in Sure Is getting on turf here.
Yeah, Colonel John, 9% winners with 2-year-old first-time starters, 8% with first-time turf runners, a half, as you mentioned, to Always Here, too. And the dam's also a half to a multiple stakes place dirt runner. That's the number 8, Sure Is, first-time starter for trainer John Kimmel. The number 9 is Road of Honor, and I think Road of Honor might be sneaky. I'm not going to be fooled by that poor running line, Nicole, first time out at Churchill Downs, a 5-furlong dirt race. I'm not sure that's this $400,000 yearlings game, but I know this is Kenny McPeak's game, second time starter switching to turf.
Yeah, definitely. And this one by another one of those hidden turf sires that we talk about, Quality Road. Of course, competed on dirt throughout his career, but the son of elusive quality is the sire of runners like Illumina, Hootenanny, just a lot of very good turf runners. And yeah, as you said, I do love this angle with Kenny McPeek stretching them out a little, getting them on turf. This is another one where I think you can draw a line through the debut.
Here's our Kenny McPeek formulator fact for the 9 Road of Honor. Don't take our word for it. Here's the formulator fact. Past 2 years, 2-year-old second-time starters, dirt to turf, sprint to route, 40% winners, and $8.74 return on investment. And Road of Honor's unraced dam has thrown a stakes-place turf runner. She herself a half to another stakes-place turf runner. So the surface switch may be just what the doctor ordered. The 10 is Our Girl Abby, and boy, she's gotten a lot of racing. For a 2-year-old filly, this is going to be start number 5.
Yeah, she's been busy already, as you mentioned, those 4 starts already, but this is her first start on turf for Mike Maker, who's a solid turf trainer. So I have to believe that he sees something in this filly that says, gee, let me try this. So I think that's always something to look at.
This horse has shown some legitimate sprint speed, so if she breaks well under Julian Leparoux, she could be a strong forward factor as she stretches out for the first time. She's burned some money on the dirt. I look at this turf pedigree and I don't see a ton. I wonder if Maker, who as you mentioned is just a fantastic trainer, is just searching for something to wake Our Girl Abby up, because the speed's there, but the stamina, not yet.
Yeah, it's very interesting. She's by a horse in Majestic Warrior, who's a son of AP Indy, where you always think of that as a stamina late in line. But Majestic Warrior was a Grade 1 winner sprinting at Saratoga as a 2-year-old. So it's really sort of an interesting cross there, putting it over a Forest Wildcat mare. So yeah, I look more at one-turn ability, but who knows? Maybe the turf will wake this one up.
One non-main track only horse on the also eligible list, and you could argue that this is the filly to beat if she gets into the race. The 11 Kitty Cat Kate, who's already campaigned once on the turf for Wesley Ward. It was a solid enough performance as the favorite. She's got enough pedigree to stretch out. You know, if she runs, she's probably tough.
Yeah, definitely. By the late Scat Daddy, who's a leading 2-year-old sire on both turf and dirt. His runners run well, just internationally. Standout 2-year-old sire, and this one, if she gets in, really has to be considered a factor.
Who do you have your eye on from a wagering perspective in the opener at Saratoga on Sunday?
You know, I think Orbolution, who we discussed, I think that one does stand out for Pletcher and Velasquez. But depending on how what the weather looks like, how the track is playing that day, there are a couple of these longer shots that I'm going to play around with. I really do have my eye on that Bird Key, as we mentioned. The Gary Contessa barn, they might need a start under their belt, but I look at this one and I think she wants to go long. She wants to run on turf, solid pedigree on both top and bottom for that. And then Sureis and Road of Honor, I think both of those are eligible to, run well on the lawn.
I'm looking at the 5 Miss Momentum for Mark Cassidy. I think this Uncle Mo filly got a little bit of an education in her debut, some trouble. With that race under her belt, stretching out and switching surfaces with this pedigree, I think she's going to run well. She's 9-2 on the morning line, and I'll fool around a little bit with the 5 Miss Momentum. Nicole, great stuff as always. We'll be back next week with more Spa Babies presented by WinStar Farm.